Cool. So, hello everyone. Thank you for letting me present. I'm here to talk today about FinCom, where we're focused on creating digital trust. So, our end goal is to help you become invisible to marketers and to ensure that you get paid for your data. Today, I'd like to talk with you about a $32 billion problem. It's extracted from consumers and companies each year by bad actors who have been fined $200 million and only paid $7,000 in fines. The right solution can combat these untrusted calls and create a data marketplace for market research firm, a $2.7 billion industry with a 17% CAGR through 2026. Today's solutions are only 85% effective and get worse over time because they do not focus on the root cause, which is money. Our solution is 100% effective forever because we build money into every untrusted interaction. But before we get to that, let's spend 90 seconds on a quick review of a company that touches most of our lives daily. Alphabet, leaders in AI, self-driving cars, mobile, IoT, venture capital, fiber, healthcare, and obviously Google and more. It didn't begin that way, though. First, Larry Page and Sergey Brin experienced the awe and frustration of the young internet. Page theorized the internet may have been the largest graph ever created. As he looked further, he realized the similarity to links and citation from his academic career. That led us to this. The PageRank algorithm used technology to solve a huge problem by mining data from the abundance of the internet and in the process, assigning value. It was 100% free, no paywall, no ads. And here we are 24 years later, still using Google. 100% free, no paywall, no interrupted ads. Trusted search was step one. 3 years later, in 2000, they took it a step further and announced advertiser solutions through Google Ads. They began with 315 advertisers. Their bet to place value on data drives 83% of Alphabet's revenue today. Google's patented PageRank algorithm gave them a huge advantage in the early internet. Similarly, our patented algorithm gives us a huge advantage in the data revolution because we value trust. For example, I think we could all agree in our current world of bots, fake account, spam, and more, trust may be as important today as search was in 1998. But where do we begin? Robocalls. Everyone gets them, nobody wants them. In fact, they're the number one source of consumer complaints to the FCC. Current solutions known as spam call blockers are only 85% effective and get worse over time. I know, I've tried every one of them over the last 8 years. They're only a band-aid. Spam call blockers use a slow and intrusive process of listening to your voicemail, using costly voice over IP, etc. The thing is, bad actors are a living neural network that always stay a step ahead because spammers profit billions. It's an infinite cat and mouse game. Today's retroactive solutions are doomed to fail. Yet they've done well with over 500 million downloads on Android alone. But we know we can do better and we can stop spam with KarmaCall. It's safe to answer your phone again. Here's how it works. You download the app, verify your account, and relax. We block 100% of spam calls day one. Now your phone will only receive the call that you want. If they're in your contact list, you'll get the call. And we do all this without ever uploading your contacts. Everything stays on your phone. But what about those calls that are not in your contacts? Well, we send them straight to voicemail so that you'll get the call you want and you'll never miss a voicemail. Now, how do we handle unknown callers, those people that you just can't miss? As I just described, anyone on your contact list can call, anyone not on your contact list cannot. So let's take a look at what today's solutions do. This is stuff that you have on your phone right now. Excuse the icons, I forgot to fix those. Private, block all calls, send it to voicemail. Favorites, you can block everyone except for your favorites. Standard, this is what Apple uses right now, silent unknown caller. And then off, this is what everyone else has where you just have no filter. Now, what does KarmaCall do differently? Why are we the one who can beat spam? Well, here's how we define good calls. Bob isn't on Alice's contact list, so his calls get sent to voicemail. Bob decides to use KarmaCall to send 5 cents of digital currency to Alice as a show of trust. That means Alice's phone will ring. If she picks up and the call lasts more than 25 seconds, Bob gets a full refund immediately. Talk about good karma. With a bad call, Bob starts the same way, but as soon as Alice answers, Bob asks for her social security number. So Alice hangs up immediately. And that means she keeps his money. Bob loses everything. This is how we stop spam, by addressing the reason it exists, economic incentives. Despite how cool this sounds, we can only be successful with network effect and mass adoption. We need people to join our platform because our platform gets stronger as it grows. To help us get and retain users, we have another unique feature where we pay our users for every phone call they block. See, cashback is our superpower. And the market is responding well. We launched about 3.5 months ago on Android, and we have 1,000 monthly active users who have blocked more than 9,000 calls, and we've made 9,000 payouts instantly. It's pretty fun. We've also had companies that are interested in using our IP to license it. I just described a defensive mechanism of our IP, but there is an offensive mechanism of our IP where we can incentivize people to respond to phone calls, to respond to text messages, to respond to social media direct messages by putting a deposit out there. For example, if you knew that you would, when you answered a phone call and you would get paid, say, 50 cents a minute, would you answer that phone call? Well, that's the question that we put out there. And we found out that, yes, people actually pick up the phone at a 100% increased rate compared to cold calls when they know they're going to be paid 50 cents a minute. And so we think we can use this in messaging and social media direct messaging as well. We're basically going to be the nano payments layer of every digital interaction. That's our plan anyways. So if you think spam calls are not really going to work out, just realize that we're also going to be integrating this into text messages, social media direct messages, and basically all forms of digital untrusted interaction. We want to be there to create digital trust for you. Plus, remember AdWords, 83% of Alphabet's revenue? When we got our own plan. You can opt in to make some cash. If you want to let businesses contact you for your feedback, you can determine how much they have to pay you. If you decide your time's worth 50 cents a minute, $1 a minute, maybe $100 a minute, that's up to you to decide if you want to opt in. And we will just take a 30% commission from those businesses. So for the businesses, it's an easier, more productive way to get you to respond to them so they can find out, are you someone I should be talking to? Or do you have feedback that I can use to improve my business, et cetera, et cetera? We're in the early stages here. So we see a lot of different things we can do with this, and we're still exploring. And the important thing is that unlike AdWords or Facebook or Instagram, we share the wealth. We let you monetize your own data. And that's our mission, is to stop spam and to get you paid for your data. Those are the two main missions that we have. And our timeline, we got incredibly lucky with a patent that was granted within 6 months, which was pretty fast turnaround time. COVID must have had the U.S. patent attorneys be bored. They got us around in about 6 months. Our app was launched in Q3, Q3 of last year, and we just signed a deal to be in Brazil. This is my team. Myself and Christian are the boots on the ground, developing, selling. We have advisors. Peter Gluck is a great IP strategy advisor who has had 3 major exits in the last 10 years worth $300 million. So we're super excited to have him on the team. And so we're solving a $32 billion problem. We're live in the Android Google Play Store, coming soon to iOS. Just signed a deal to be preloaded onto Android phones in Brazil, where we currently have 20,000 users there. And we're still trying to figure out how to work with those users. It's very interesting. And we're growing. We are really excited about what we're doing. So my 1 million cup to you is we need more users in our app. Please try it out. You can scan that QR code. If you have an iPhone, you can go to our website and sign up, and we'll let you be the first to know when iPhone is ready. I sort of explained a little bit about the nano payments concept. We think of ourselves as a think tank for digital nano payment. What kind of cool ideas can you do when you can send fractions of a penny with zero fees in real time at scale? And we want to help people be more creative with that and see how we can help you improve your businesses. If you know any advisors with telecom or market research background, I'd love to talk with them. I'll stop there. That was 10 minutes. Thanks for listening.
Great. Anyone have any questions?
That was really interesting, Adrian. Excuse me. This is Eric. Um, so, do I need to have your app, or will it work with my native? I'm on Android. My native Android, or tell me a little bit more about like the what it would take for me to say onboard my mom, um, who is on the less technically savvy end of the spectrum.
Yep. So your mother would have to download the KarmaCall application from the Google Play Store. The first thing she would do is enter her phone number. She would get a text message with a six-digit OTP, a six-digit code. When she enters that code, she is given an account, and at that point, that's it. Everything else is done in the background. We basically, under the hood, we assign her a payment account and we attach it to her phone number, and that's how we validate, if she's been paid or not. We check the account associated with her phone number. So really, just 30 seconds or a minute to onboard, and then you just let it run in the background. Um, but we want to. The app stores are a way of getting this out there right now. Certainly, we can work with a telecommunications company to get it implemented in the back end. But we have to make some noise first, get a little bit more
Yeah,
known, and then we can have conversations with those folks.
sure. So the payments would go like just onto her onto her phone account, or I mean, obviously you're not sending checks to anybody. Um,
We create a digital currency account for her. We use something called Nano. You heard of Bitcoin? It's sort of similar to that, but it's completely different as well. It solves a lot of the problem. Actually, I would say all of the problem that Bitcoin has with scalability and energy usage and whatnot. So we just assigned her an account from the Nano distributed ledger. It's a cryptocurrency, and we picked that one because it works for what we wanted to do. So she would get paid in Nano, and she would be able to cash out in app to gift cards, any number of over 100 gift cards, at any amount that our third party folks do. So since we use the cryptocurrency, it's a decentralized ecosystem. We focus on using it to help people stop spam calls. Other folk are going to use it to help people trade their Nano for gift cards. Other people are going to let you spend it to play video games and whatnot. So there's going to be a host of different things you can spend your digital currency on. Withdrawing it straight to your bank account would be super cool. We just don't have that yet, and no one, as far as I know, has worked on building that out yet. So
so one more question, and I'll let somebody else ask. The idea of paying a nickel, it's a really interesting concept you got. But one thought that crossed my mind is one example, like domain squatters, right? So this is something I've dealt with in the past. There are people who will buy up or did buy thousands or tens of thousands of domain names at $10 a pop because they knew they could sell one or two or 10 for $10,000 or more, and offset that loss. And I mean, we see it all the time. I mean, what's the cost? There is some cost for the spammers to send all these emails, nominal, extremely nominal, but there is some cost because they know that they'll make their money back on the few that do pick up the phone. So just wondering, I don't have an answer there, or curious what you've thought about that. If I did, I guess I would be in your shoes, but what do you think about that? Is that really a problem? Am I missing something?
Yeah, so domain squatters, I've dealt with that problem too. Let's not get into that subject. That just annoys me as well. I don't really know a good way to combat that right now. But gosh, I would certainly love one. So if you have any further thoughts on that, shoot me an email, Adrian@bincom.com. I'd love to
I
hear
mean, we're
more.
getting all these calls. We're getting all these spam calls now. I got 9 yesterday. 9 spam calls yesterday. I mean, it's obvious they're doing it because it works, and admittedly, they're not having to pay anything, or apparently not pay anything to make that call. And so having to pay them does give them an economic disincentive. I think that's a really neat part of your approach. But they're doing that because it works somehow. Somebody is saying, yes, I'll take that extended car warranty. So
This
very
is where the
interesting
network effect
concept.
comes in. This is where network effect is very important
Yep.
because, as you said, some people are still being fooled. The idea of us paying out fractions of a penny, so we pay about 1/100th of a penny for every call you block, and we do that for economic reasons. It can't be more expensive to get paid to block a call than it is to make that call in the first place. Otherwise, the scammers will just, use my system and take me for all I've got. But the more people that we can incentivize to stop picking up phone calls, the less of a supply there will be of people who answer phone calls in the first place. It's a supply and demand problem. So if we can reduce the number of people who say, I will pick up a phone call, if we can increase the number of people who say, I won't pick up a phone call unless there's a deposit associated with it, then that's going to decrease the supply of normal phone calls. It's going to increase the demand to be able to access those calls because scammers aren't the only one making money off of cold calls. There's a legit cold call market research industry. Market research is a $217 billion industry, 20% of which is built on outbound cold call. You have telemarketers selling legit products, also a multi-$100 billion industry. And they are going to be hurt as well because no one picks up the phone anymore because they're all using KarmaCall and getting paid to block calls. At that point, we can then turn around to those businesses and say, hey, we know you're not getting to talk to anyone. We have a way to incentivize people to pick up the phone. You just got to pay them 5 cents a minute. So now you get sort of a reverse hotline for your personal number. So that's sort of the long-term game theory problem there. And that's really just going to take, anywhere from, I predicted 4 to 7 years before we see any sort of semblance of a meaningful effect of that. So thanks for your question.
So you've told us how your users can make money, but tell us about your revenue model and how you make money.
Right. So whenever you hang up on a bad caller, hang up before 25 seconds, you actually will collect 80% of that deposit. We will collect 20%. That is a revenue model that we don't really rely on to survive in the long run, because if we're successful, that revenue model will shrink over time. The other revenue model is once we have businesses onboarded who are using our system to make calls and pay people to answer the call, to continue talking with them, pay people to respond to text messages, respond to emails, etc. We take a 30% commission from the businesses for every successful response, every successful pickup. So that's how we make money in the long run, and that's where we really make our money up. So we start off as a B2C application to get the users onboarded, and at the same time, we're growing a B2B side to get businesses to convince them that, hey, you really should be paying people to talk to you. You'll get a better response, more qualitative data. So that's our plan.
Interesting. All right. Thank you. Great presentation, by the way.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you.
I agree with Aaron. It was a really great presentation. And I think you definitely have some challenges ahead, but it sounds like a really interesting concept. So kudos to you for going after it. I'm kind of curious, what is your background, Adrian? How did you get into this? How did you think of it? What are you up to?
Yeah, so I'm a lifelong engineer. I am 30 years old now. I just graduated with my PhD a year ago. My PhD was in nanoengineering. So University of California, Irvine. I spent 7 years there in material sciences and engineering with an emphasis on nanoengineering. I built some really cool stuff there. But I realized that what I really liked was the philosophical concept of using the micro to influence the macro. And so in material sciences, that's really easy. You move a few atoms around, you get this cool new material, and now you get to shoot a rocket off into space, right? In the digital world, though, I'm focused on using tiny fractional payments to disrupt a multi-billion-dollar scamming industry, and sort of also trigger a awareness that people should be getting paid for their data, and that is a trillion-dollar industry. So if I can do all that with just micro payment, gosh, that would just be amazing. I would love that. And so that's sort of how it came about. That I was also into the digital currency space for quite a while. Like I found out about Bitcoin in 2012, 2013, and just was really fascinated by it. But I didn't see anyone making user-friendly application that had a direct impact on everyday life in a user-friendly way. And I thought, why not be one of the first ones to put that out there? There's been other people who've tried, who've done a really great job, but I just want to put my own lot out there.
Are you still living in California now?
Yep, it's 7 a.m. over here, bright and early.
bright and early, but I bet it's warm and it's not 5 degrees.
Yeah, it is. It's like summer over here, so
You don't have to go any further. It's a good. Thanks. Just kidding. So it's almost like the concept of like credit card companies. They've done this micropayments for years, and there's people making millions and millions of dollars on just this itty bitty. So there's a huge opportunity. I see that. I think it's fascinating. I'm curious to see how this rolls out.
Yeah, thank you. Well, we've been sort of keeping a low profile for a while as we build out our back end and just get our tech ready for, scalability. But next month we are going to be launching and, well, potentially, I shouldn't say too much more about this. There's some legal stuff that I can't speak too much about. Suffice to say, we'll be marketing a little bit more next month. And yeah, hoping to get the same feedback from people because I think just unlocking the idea that now with the concept of sending fractions of a penny, like micropayments were like, okay, 99 cents to unlock a level on a game or whatnot, but nano payments are something else entirely, and they can be refundable too. You can use them not just for traditional, pay for a commodity or a services and good, but you can use it to create trust by giving a fraction of a penny to someone, and depending on how long that interaction lasts, a phone call, getting that value back. So you can create digital trust with the absence of a payment. And I think is super cool. So that's actually our patent there is, sending a payment to someone you don't know and getting it back after you verified trust, without having to push buttons and stuff, just based on time or response. So,
What about security for you? So you're going after these robocallers. These robocallers are quite aggressive. They're trying to steal money. You're going to interrupt their revenue stream. What does it look like from a security standpoint from not only your users, but for you guys on the back end for this product?
yeah, so there's two ways for us to go about this. One, we can have, which is our current model right now, is to hold all of the value for you, sort of like a big giant bank vault that is juicy, and anyone who with skilled hacking sense can probably break into our backend and steal all the digital currency that we have. That's what we have right now at this point in time. As we scale, though, we are going to start decentralizing our value so that we don't have the authority to move your value around. So that means we won't have the ability to, if we get hacked, we won't be able to transfer your money. Hackers won't be able to transfer your money either. Only you will be able to transfer your money around. So we no longer become a honeypot for money for, those kinds of actors. As far as, other kinds of hackers that just want to do distributed denial of service and that kind of thing, there's pretty straightforward ways to combat that with Cloudflare and other typical backend security procedures. But we do need a team for that. And we are looking to raise money starting, next month for that. So yeah, just got to be secure. I mean, it's not super hard. You just have to be aware that that's a thing and be ready for it.
Nice. Kind of going off of that, a lot of people are interested in cryptocurrency now with Bitcoin, getting up to 40,000 each. And I know you said you're using something called Nano. How does that differ from Bitcoin?
Sure. So Nano uses a block lattice, not a blockchain. The thing with Bitcoin is a blockchain. As it scales, as more people use it, it becomes more expensive to operate on that chain. The fees start to increase, and it's hard to verify that a transaction has actually occurred. Still a really great system. Like, I'm not bashing Bitcoin at all. I think it's an amazing thing. But what Nano does is, with the block lattice system, it gives each person its own blockchain, and it uses a different sort of consensus model that is easier to scale and allows it to be fee-free to validate transactions in less than 1 second, and to be really easy to use. Like for me as a developer, to be able to send a payment to test that something's working on the back end, and then send a bunch of payments to test that something's working on the back end, and not have to pay fees to do that and have it happen right away. It's invaluable when you talk about developing, when you talk about testing systems. It's really, really invaluable. So it's just it's just really simple to use. It's free, really simple to use. It's scaled, and the distribution of Nano is really pretty decent. 95%, 93% of it went out to the world, and only 7% was used for that team to build the system out. You have, Stellar, Ripple, other currencies that transfer value really fast, but 80% of it is still in the hands of the people who made it. So it's, if you want to get into crypto economics, that's like a whole different rabbit hole that I tend to shy away from, but I can definitely get really deep into that as well. Suffice to say, we use Nano because it's just simple to use, it's easy to use. So
Nice. Very nice. Any other questions?
It's Eric again. Have you, I know that there have been some efforts in the past to do payments to avoid spam. It's not exactly the same model, but there's some analogs. Have you looked at any of those? Was there anything you could learn from those efforts? Obviously, they were not successful. We're all still dealing with spam. Maybe they just realized it's just easier to put some filter up on at the somewhere in the mail stream, try to deal with it that way. But have you looked at or aware of any of those businesses or why they did not work?
Yeah. So we took a lot of inspiration from those folks. As a PhD student, I'm all about standing on the shoulders of giants. So Hashcash was one of the first instances of using spam made by Adam Back, way back in the 90s. It wasn't really like a payment thing, it was more doing a little bit of work, CPU work before you can send an email out. And that's currently using Bitcoin right now to validate transaction. There were other implementations by Cisco and IBM that required a very similar thing. My lights went out, but you can still see it. So Cisco and IBM came really, really close to what we have, but their thing was they were focused on an intent to pay. They were focused on, mitigating spam a little bit, but they were more focused on allowing you to decide whether someone can pay you to talk to you, and strictly focused on that. And that didn't really succeed because why would that happen in the first place? How do you get that to scale? Like if you have a system where, okay, I have a patent now that allows businesses to pay people to pick up the phone. Okay, great. How do you get the network effect? How do you get people to start using this thing? And that's where it's like, oh, that's actually really hard. So what we did was we looked at all that and we were like, let's pay people to stop call. So we'll pay them for every call we block. Let's not have to have them click any button or make a decision. One of the main things by Rosenberg and Jennings from Cisco was that they had a very similar system. You pay to talk to someone, and they have to decide if you were a bad caller or not. So now you have to make a decision.
Right.
Was that a spammer? Was it not? And then you click a button and give them a refund or not. Our thing is you do pay a deposit. You don't have to click a button or think. You just do what you do naturally do. You hang up really quick or you keep on talking. And based on that length of conversation, the caller gets a refund or not. So it was that time-based concept to always allow a refund. So we want to give people a refund. So the USPTO, gave us a whole mountain of paperwork that we had to read through, and a lot of the prior art was there. And so the main thing we saw was that everyone else had an intent to pay, whereas we had an intent to refund. And that was the main thing that we learned from those people. But yeah, definitely love, history. So
Yeah, interesting. One last question. So how are you funded? What's that situation?
good. Yeah, completely bootstrapped at this point. Gosh, I must be 40,000 in of my own money, 44,000, and it just keeps piling up. We're doing a big marketing push, so I just found out a couple of days ago I had to pay $10,000 to $13,000 to complete this marketing video that we're going to make for next month. But it's going to be really cool, really fun, and just hilarious, kind of like a Dollar Shave Club, but for spam calls kind of thing. So yeah, we're self-funded right now. As I said earlier, we are looking at raising funds, potentially doing an equity crowdfund, potentially as soon as next month. And, we'll allow people to, hopefully put in money with us and, be at the ground floor of a really cool startup.
Well, with your desire for need for the network effect, crowdfunding might be an interesting play for you. I mean, you're going to need a lot of money, but, to have potentially tens or hundreds of thousands of people with a stake in your business, and you need those people to use the app, might be an interesting approach for you. So
That's a really good point.
And you still have time to get a Super Bowl commercial in, I think. I just read there.
And be careful taking any money from Brazil.
And your video budget, though. So really neat stuff. Great work, Adrian.
Thank you. I appreciate
on
it.
Your PhD.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me chat. It looked like I missed a bunch of cool conversation. What were you guys talking about? Craigslist, paying people to do ads, or what's going on there? I'm a little curious.
Ethan, you want to talk about it a little bit? Ethan just started he started a moving company for college students. So we were talking about how we could help him with some marketing.
Oh, okay, cool. So you're using Craigslist right now to do that kind of stuff?
Yeah, that's kind of one of the places that we advertise the most because it's pretty cheap. It's like $5 a post, and we post, probably like twice a week. And we see a lot of return on it, so that's why we keep going back to it, I guess.
How do you I'm assuming you have a site. Do you have something like Hotjar installed on it?
No, I do not.
You should. It's completely free. Hotjar.com. It's like a heat map. So when you install it onto your website, it shows you where your users are spending the most time, like where they click the most, what they look at the most, and you can sort of tune your website.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. And then, like, obviously, if you're not using Google Analytics or something like that, you should be using that too. Super helpful.
Okay. Yeah, we've like looked at Google Analytics from like time to time. I can't say it's anything that we like check every day. But yeah, this looks pretty cool. I'm looking at their website right now.
Yeah, there's so many cool free things to do. Like I started off on Craigslist back in the day too. Like that's kind of how I started hustling, because I've been sort of, an entrepreneur since like 15, 16 years old. And yeah, buying and selling things, selling different kinds of services. Craigslist was amazing back in the day. It's a lot harder now though. So yeah, but you have a lot of cool digital tools. If you shoot me an email, I'd be happy to, I don't know, just bounce ideas off or just review or whatever. I'll put it in the chat.
Sure. Okay. Thanks.
Adrian, tell us about one of your other ventures that was exciting for you.
Oh gosh, this is still on Facebook. That's fine. So I love manufacturer spending. Manufacturer spending was one of my favorite loopholes that I took advantage of. So in 2012, the ability for gift cards to have a PIN on them was created by the Dodd-Frank Act, some legal framework. Anyway, it opened up the ability to apply for a credit card and hit those spending bonuses. Spend $3,000, get $500 back. I found out about this when I was a poor college student and I had no money to spend. So I was like, okay, I need a creative way to spend big money. So I would get those credit cards, go to grocery stores and buy $20,000 worth of gift cards and cash all of those gift cards out to money orders and then use the money order to pay off the original credit card debt. So I spent, hundreds of thousands, close to $1 million in fake money and only paid about 1.2% in fees and made about 3.8% back on all of that. And it was pretty easy to do. Like I was thinking about quitting my job for a bit and doing that. But yeah, I generated, millions of credit card points and hotel points that way. Got to travel the world for a year. I actually took a break during the PhD to use all my points and travel the world for a year, which is super fun. So that's one of like my loopholes that I like to take advantage of. And this new thing I'm doing is just a similar loophole, but on a bigger scale. So yeah.
You sound like quite the interesting character. You don't have a blog or anything we can follow, do you? Like that would be amazing. Tell us all this stuff.
Give me cryptocurrency tips.
Yeah.
I should. I'm going to start talking more about this kind of stuff. Like I kind of kept this a little quiet for a bit because you find something good and you if you find something really good, why would you tell anyone about it? Why wouldn't you just start, doing it more and more and more and more? And the reason I talk about it now is because you can't do that anymore. Like it's super hard to do it. The grocery stores found out. I got banned from several banking institutions because they saw that I was, the action looked like a money launderer. It looked just like a money launderer, except they start with an illegal source of money. I started with a legal source of money. So yeah. Learn a lot about social engineering when you're, trying to buy $20,000 worth of gift cards and cash them out in the same place. So there's a lot of really fun stories there that I just don't talk about a lot. Twitter, I used my handle Adrian E. Graphene at Twitter, but I don't post there very much. I'm not a big social media guy, but at some point, I will start talking more about this and be more of a public persona. But yeah.
Serial entrepreneur. I think that there's always some great stories and so many lessons you can help others through. So that's awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, it's fun sharing those stories. I don't get to talk about them very often.
Nice. Does anyone else have any final questions before I ask our traditional final question?
Actually, I have some questions.
Sure.
So, I'm not sure I understand all your idea, but I think it's very interesting. So I have like, how do you know, like for the spam calls, usually if you talk to them longer, I know this is a way to make money, but for some older people, maybe they don't know, and especially for those people they don't know is a spam. So you mean if they send money to the spam people, you guys going to get the refund or?
So this is a good question. Yeah, old folks are going to be a bit more vulnerable to scammers, and scammers are going to try to work around our system as well. We'd say it takes 25 seconds of conversation to get a refund, and scammers might use interesting tricks to get you to stay on for longer. So for older folks, ideally they have someone younger that's watching out for them, that can, we're probably going to have to allow folks to increase the time for a refund. Instead of 25 seconds, it take a minute or 2 minutes or something like that. But even that just is kicking the can down the road. It doesn't solve the problem at heart. I think what solves the problem is, I can't help old folks specifically, but if I make it more expensive for spammers to make calls in general, then it becomes more expensive for them to operate, and that can help the older folks by putting the spammers out of business. But the way I see it, the more young folks, the more tech savvy folks join the system and tell other people about it, the more expensive we can make it for spammers, and the harder it's going to be for them to survive and try to trick other people. We just have to make it more expensive for them to make phone calls, and that doesn't exist right now. So yeah, it's a good question, and I've thought about this. I don't have a good answer for that other than, like, please download the app.
Another question. I mean, even I like to block the spam calls and maybe interest to make some money. So how can I protect my privacy? Seems like you can actually know that how many minutes I'm talking to other people. I know there are some phones that now actually protecting your data only turn on while you are going to use it. So there are phone design like that. So I'm not sure how do you guys work. Like how as a user, how can I protect my privacy?
Yeah, so if you want 100% protection of your privacy, you won't take any calls from the marketing agency. You will, just not take those kinds of calls at all. And there's an option. You have to opt in to take these kinds of calls. So that's the 100% way to protect your privacy. Now, when you start talking to marketers, or just anyone who gives you a deposit to ring your phone, we do know how long that phone conversation lasts. We do know the patterns. If you receive a phone call on Wednesday and you talk for 20 minutes, it was a great call. But you receive a phone call on Thursday at 7 p.m. and you hang up right away. And we will use that to help people understand your behavior and help them be more effective. But you're sort of allowing us to make you the product. Like in this system, what we like to say is that you are the product, and we want to make sure that you get paid. Your data is already being sold, and you're not getting paid anything at all. So you don't really have that power right now. Unfortunately, we want to make it so that you do get paid. And we don't need your name, your address, or anything like that. We just tie your identity to your phone number, or in regards to social media, to your social media profile, in regards to your email account. So we like to have a pseudo-anonymous way of identifying you. We just need one identity point. And then from there, you can see that we're basically building a profile out on you, but it's just tied to your phone number. And the information you get to marketers, you just have to be careful with that. If some folks will be trying to trick you, but yeah, it's an interesting conundrum, right? Because there's so much. It opens up a sort of different way of like potential abuse as well. But as long as you're getting paid, I think that's much different than the environment we're in today. And I want to introduce that concept of having people get paid for their data, because abuse is going to happen, but in this case, at least the wealth gets to be spread out amongst everyone whose data is going into the system. So it's really good question.
Thank you.
Nice.
Adrian, I have a question about masked phone calls. You know how sometimes someone will call and it's a number, and then you call back and they're like, I never called you. So if they're blocking that number, how do you handle that? Or, who's getting the refund there? Or are you able to see who's really calling? Can you tell us about that issue?
This is a really cool question too. So when you sign up with KarmaCall, we give you a cryptocurrency account. That means you get a private and public key pair. And that means that we can do cryptography for you. We can assure that if you're signed on to our system and someone else is signed on to our system and person C tries to call that person and max your phone number or spoof your phone number, it won't work because you need to have signed as your phone number and your cryptocurrency account. So we basically, can allow you to verify your identity with the KarmaCall account. And so make it so that anyone else with the KarmaCall account knows that this call came from you or that it didn't, regardless of what the telecommunications is telling them with the fake phone number. So we can, end the spoofing problem in that way. And that's kind of what's going on right now nationally with Stir Shaken, which is what telecom are implementing, but they're doing it on the service provider level, on the big giant service providers that filter through hundreds of millions of phone calls, and they're using a single private key. We are taking it down to each phone having its own private key and each phone number having its own private key. So we can't solve that problem, and that is something that's on the roadmap.
I think that's a great selling point because I'm a realtor, so I use my phone for business, and knowing that people are using my phone number to scam, now that's great.
Interesting. Okay.
You should have mentioned that at the beginning because that sold me on it now, definitely.
I'll talk about that more. Yeah, I didn't know people would be interested in that, but now I know. Okay, cool. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it definitely is a huge problem. I know the spam calls I get are the mask numbers, and then I've been getting a barrage of international phone numbers for some reason. It's like, I don't know anyone in Serbia. Why are they calling me? Cool. Does anyone else have any questions before we wrap things up? Hearing nothing, I'm going to ask our traditional final question. What can we do as a community to help you?
Yeah, so, whenever the conversation of spam calls and spam comes around, if you can just, talk about KarmaCall and say that, hey, there's a cool new solution that's letting you get paid to help stop the spam problem. If you have, business friends that are interested in new ways of increased user engagement, increased user feedback, let them know about FinCom and how we can help them get higher, retention rates, higher user engagement with fractions of a penny. If you hear of anything that we probably fit, bring us up in the conversation. We're really trying to spread grassroots if we can.
Cool. And then to get in touch with you afterwards, it looks like it's Adrian at fincom.com.